Today we're going to look at some examples of chemical and physical changes. So for our first experiment, we're going to take some sodium chloride, which is table salt, and we're going to add it to some water in a flask, and we're going to try and determine whether or not the process is a chemical change or a physical change. So we need to remember that when we talk about physical changes, the chemical composition of the materials before the change takes place is the same as the chemical composition of the substances after the change takes place. And a chemical process is one in which the substances before are different from the substances after the change takes place. So we've added our sodium chloride to our water, and we've mixed them up so a change has taken place, and we want to decide whether or not that change is a chemical change or a physical change. And a good thing to consider is, can you get the water and the sodium chloride back when that change is complete? For our second process, we're going to take sodium bicarbonate or baking soda, and we're going to add it to some vinegar in a flask, and we want to decide again, is the process a chemical change or a physical change? So we'll add a little bit of baking soda to our vinegar, and we'll make some observations. Oops, probably added a little bit too much. And again, the difference would be if the substances before that change are the same as the substances after, it would be a physical change. And if we've made new substances, it would be a chemical change. So which one do you think this is? For our third process, we have some water in a flask, and we put it onto a hot plate, and we heat that water up. And we're going to boil that water. And we can see that we've got steam coming out of the top of our flask. And then I can take, this is a watch glass, and put that watch glass over the top of my boiling water and make some observations about what happens on that watch glass. So I'm adding energy into my water. The water is boiling. I've got steam coming off the top of my water. And I've got water condensing on my watch glass. So we want to decide what kind of change, chemical change or physical change, is taking place and why. And again, a physical change is one in which the substances have the same chemical composition before and after the change, and chemical changes are ones in which we change what the substances are before and after. So we've got boiling water that's condensing on our watch glass. Do you think it's a chemical change, or do you think it's a physical change? For our last example, we're going to take some hydrochloric acid, and we're going to add it to our flask. And then we're going to take a piece of magnesium metal and add it to the acid. Okay. Do we think a chemical change or a physical change is taking place? And why do we think so? So we have 4 different processes that we looked at. We dissolved salt in water. We added baking soda to vinegar. We boiled water. And we added magnesium to hydrochloric acid. And we need to decide which ones are chemical changes and which ones are physical changes. And we need to give evidence of what we have decided.